Welcome back. The NATO summit wrapping up in D.C. today with President Biden set to hold a high-stakes solo press conference, something John Kirby referred to as a big boy press conference. The alliance released its summit declaration yesterday, slamming China over its support for Russia, calling it, quote, a decisive enabler of Russia's war in Ukraine. The declaration also calling for Beijing to cease all material support to Moscow's war effort, saying, quote, the PRC cannot enable the largest war in Europe in recent history without this negatively impacting its interests and reputation. China is pushing back on that declaration this morning, saying, quote, this comes with malicious intent, unquote. Joining me now is Gatestone Institute senior fellow, author of The Coming Collapse of China and China is Going to War, Gordon Chang, back with us. Gordon, great to see you. Thank you for being here. Your reaction to this NATO declaration?
Well, I think the declaration certainly is descriptive because apart from supplying troops, China's support for Russia is all in. And talking about Chinese troops, at this moment, Chinese troops and those from Belarus are now participating in joint exercises in Belarus just 3 miles from the Polish border, a NATO member.
Wow.
And so clearly we've got to now start thinking about whether China will get involved in the Ukraine war in some way. You know, most people say, well, that's just impossible. But we've got to remember that China intervened in North Korea's side when North Korea was losing in 1950. The same thing could happen now.
Well, it certainly feels like China has big plans. I mean, just 50,000 Chinese nationals coming into America in the last year raises an eyebrow. What are they planning? So where is this going? Remember that walk in the park that Joe Biden took with Xi Jinping last year? I mean, the mental capacity issues had to be on full display there as well. How are our adversaries viewing this?
Well, with regard to China, I mean, they think that they now have a window of opportunity. What really concerns me is that Xi Jinping has personal incentives now to go to war. Going to war would be unpopular with the Chinese people, but it would prevent other senior Communist Party figures from deposing Xi Jinping, who's now in trouble. So we may not be able to deter this guy because he might be motivated solely by what's going on in the Chinese capital.
Mark.
My interpretation of China's position on our election and what's going on right now is that I'm thinking they might actually be disappointed that the entire world just saw Biden on display the way they've seen him over the course of the last several years.
They want their man in place.
Yes, they want him in place. They know they've had their way with him. And I would have to guess that they're probably a little bit concerned in Biden's performance. What do you say about that, Gordon?
Well, certainly. Our allies are concerned as well. You know, we saw this from the Polish foreign minister just moments after that debate. He then tweeted out about Marcus Aurelius and how he had failed by his succession. And that was a direct jab at Biden. And Poland is one of our best friends. And his in an open tweet like that is just unprecedented.
Yeah. Well, you made a remark during the commercial break about the debate being in June. I'm wondering if the Democrats put Joe Biden on that stage with Donald Trump to prove a point. I mean, was that a setup for him? I mean, who would make a decision to put Joe Biden on stage with Donald Trump, knowing his mental capacity challenges?
Yeah, I mean, to me, a June debate's never been done before. So the question is, why did this happen? Why did they push Biden to do this? And I think you're absolutely right. They did it because they wanted him to fail so they could actually put in somebody else who had a better chance of winning.
What backstabbing underway right now? You got Chuck Schumer saying one thing publicly, reportedly saying something else privately. You got Nancy Pelosi signaling, yeah, I'm good with Biden, stepping down if it means that we could win the House. There's a whole lot of backstabbing going on right now, Joe.
Gordon, and to that point, do you think the Chinese see the inevitability of a Trump presidency and that they are doing things like positioning troops in Belarus, moving their carriers in the Taiwan Straits, in the Philippines? Do you think they're doing that as a way to stage themselves for negotiating points against perhaps a more stronger president?
Well, yeah, and they certainly see a closing window of opportunity, which closes on January 20, 2025. And so right now, at this moment, we don't have to speculate because China is engaging in extremely belligerent activities at Second Thomas Shoal and other features in the South China Sea. And those are flashpoints which could very well lead to war.
Wow. The Biden administration has announced that the U.S. will now impose a 25% tariff on Mexican steel imports containing steel from China and a 10% tariff on Mexican aluminum products imports that have been smelted or cast in China, Russia, Iran, or Belarus. These products would have previously entered the country duty-free as part of the trade agreements with Mexico and Canada. Gordon, how do you see this?
Well, this is a great move, but the problem is, why is it done so late? Why is it so
4
close
months
to the
before an
election?
election, please.
The other thing is enforcement, because we do have import restrictions on goods from China, but they're not being enforced vigorously. So, for instance, goods made with forced or slave labor are still coming into the United States without inspection. So the issue here is whether we're actually going to have effective border control on these steel and aluminum products coming in from Mexico.
Mm-hmm. House Speaker Mike Johnson is predicting that Congress will pass a China bill this year during a speech at the Gatestone Institute. Watch this.
The House will be voting on a series of bills to empower the next administration to hit our enemies' economies on day one. We will build our sanctions package, punish the Chinese military firms that provide material support to Russia and Iran, and we'll consider options to restrict outbound investments in China. Our goal is to have a significant package of China-related legislation signed into law by the end of this year in this Congress, featuring these priorities and many more, and we'll work aggressively toward that package.
So I've got a morning note from TD Cowen, and the analyst at Cowen is telling clients that if a broader China bill and a package starts to move, that they expect it to include provisions to delist some Chinese companies from U.S. exchanges and restrictions barring the Chinese ownership of U.S. farmland. We just talked about this. I did this new special for Fox Nation, Underwriting the Enemy. This is a full 3-part series, and it is available right now on Fox Nation. I hope you'll check that out. Gordon, you were part of that special. What's your reaction to this potential China bill and the potential delisting of these companies?
Yeah, we need to delist Chinese companies because right now they are not having to follow, they don't have to follow the same rules as companies from the United States or any other place. They've got this special deal.
Which is totally questionable.
Which is outrageous. There is no justification for it. And as Roger Robinson has told you, the United States needs to start getting Chinese companies off of our exchanges because they're using that money to configure their military to fight the United States. This is just wrong strategically, and it's wrong morally as well.
I wonder if investors understand that. I mean, Mark, you're a great student of world affairs, but do most investors understand, that when you're buying these Chinese stocks on these exchanges, you're basically funding the expansion of our #1 adversary?
Not just that, but you're buying a company where, you
don't even own the whole
and you don't know what's going on financially. Like, it is dangerous to buy something that isn't being held to the same accounting standards that all of our companies are held to.
Great point. Gordon, great to see you.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you so much. Gordon Chang joining us.